Hello, Classic Crew, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be talking about 5 ways for men to attract classic and conservative women. I have been asked a few times on my channel what men can do to attract the kind of woman that they're looking for and to attract that classic and conservative woman. And I know that I do have some male followers here on this channel, and I really wanted to talk to you guys about exactly what you could start implementing into your life to attract that kind of woman and attract the woman that shares your values and the woman that you could start to build a life with. And clearly, if you're here, if you're watching this video, you are conservative and you have values and you're looking for something bigger than just dating for fun. You're looking for a long-term relationship with a woman who you could build a life with. And so I'm really excited to share these 5 ways that you can attract a classic woman, a conservative woman. So let's get into it. My first piece of advice is stop pursuing women who have totally different politics and values from you. If you are somebody who does know the value of marriage and who does recognize what marriage is about and what it's for, then dating somebody who doesn't share your values and who doesn't have that compatibility with you is really just a waste of time. Marriage is more than just marrying someone who you have romantic love with. It's about building a family with someone who does share your values and who will fit into a community with you, and where you can build a life together that's built on the same goal. And if you're dating women who have completely different values than you do, and the reason I bring up politics as well is because politics and values generally go hand in hand, you're going to end up wasting both of your time because you're not going to be able to build a life with someone who doesn't want children, or who doesn't think that faith is important, or who doesn't care about being in a community and would rather be in a high-rise in New York and not really have a lot of friends but focus on career, or who doesn't really care about participating in a community. You're not going to be able to change someone who feels strongly about those kinds of things, and then the future is truly uncertain for you. If politics matter to you and so do values, then going out with women just because you find them attractive, physically or just personality-wise, is going to be a waste of time for you because you're not going to be able to meet women who could actually end up with you while you're wasting time dating women who are totally wrong for you. First of all, you're leading those women on because you're not going to end up with them. They have a totally different life goal than you do, and they have different values than you do, and it's very hard to build a life with somebody who is that different on those fundamental values. And second of all, you're confusing yourself. So this is something I talk about a lot on my blog and on my channel, and that is this idea of chemistry and compatibility. Essentially, when you meet somebody, you have to have both. But you can meet people who have one or the other. When you meet somebody who has really good compatibility with you and you guys are on the same page about all your values and you do share the same politics, but you're not really interested in each other and there really isn't a lot of chemistry there, those are the kind of relationships where you get bored very quickly because there's only the compatibility. You don't have the chemistry. And on the other side of the spectrum is a chemistry-only relationship. That's the kind of relationship that's a heartbreaker. That's the kind of relationship where your personality seems so perfect for each other and you guys just can't not think about one another. And it's so all-consuming. And you tell yourself that you'll make it through even though you don't agree on any of the basics. And you can't make it through that. And that's gonna be the most painful breakup of all. That's why I'm a big proponent of building a relationship on chemistry and compatibility. That person who you get along with and who you have a great time with, but who also shares a vision of the future. And that's the kind of relationship where you're a lot more calm. It's not that version of passion that sounds like it's what it should be, right? Where you're going crazy in love and you're on fire all the time. A lot of that is built on anxiety that you're gonna lose the other person because they don't share that view of the future. But the fact of the matter is when you do meet the right person, a lot of the time, of course, there is a passion, but there's not a fear that you're gonna lose them because you do have a similar view of what you want in life. And when you do have that shared view, you don't have that panicky feeling, which a lot of the time accompanies that really kind of scared, intense, passionate, fiery thing that happens in chemistry-only relationships. If you want to find the mother of your children, you can't just keep chasing the girls who you have chemistry with because you're gonna end up hurting yourself, hurting them, and it's just gonna end in heartbreak. The other part of this is if conservative women are constantly seeing you go out with women who aren't classic and who aren't conservative, they're going to question you and your motives. They won't trust that you take being conservative and classic seriously. And I understand that because I remember when I was dating, I would be interested in a guy, but he would constantly be going out with different women who had totally different values than I did. And so I would think that he wasn't that serious in his values if he wasn't really pursuing the women who he could share a life with. So bottom line, 1, it's a waste of time for you to go out with women who don't share your vision for the future and who don't share your values in politics. And 2, you are sending out a confusing message to the classic and conservative women that you might actually want to date, that you're not that serious about it. So that's my first piece of advice. Stop dating women who don't share your values and your politics. Number 2 is develop yourself into an interesting and cultured person. Conservative classic women are usually a very interesting group of women. They are really interested in history. They read a lot of books. They listen to good music. They follow the news. They are really interesting people. Being the kind of guy who knows a lot about different parts of culture, who goes to museums or listens to opera, I know I'm biased, but still, or if you just read a lot, if you get the daily newspaper, if you're somebody who is a cultured person, you're going to make yourself more attractive to those classic and conservative women. Make the time to read, to go to museums, to take extra classes, to educate yourself on things that you are interested in, but would also make you a great conversationalist. Also, if you are constantly taking in culture, think about how many great dates you'll be able to take this girl on that you're interested in. You won't just be going to dinner and a movie every single time you go out. You might take her to a museum. You might take her to a live Broadway show. You might take her to a bookstore, and you'll just have so many more different things for you both to share. And outside of just making you a more interesting person, art, history, and literature will also develop you as a person because there's always something to learn. You can always improve yourself by taking the time to learn about history or taking the time to read a great book or taking the time to look at a beautiful piece of art. That stuff makes you better over time. A good example is the fact that my husband was a Russian literature major in college, and I took Russian literature in high school. And that was one of the first things that the two of us connected on. And for Jacob, outside of it making him interesting to me, Russian literature was the impetus for him to become more conservative, more religious. It was something that really taught him and developed him to become a better person. So it was for himself an incredibly important thing for him to read and learn and study. And then additionally, it was something that the two of us could talk about and connect on. And it was so fascinating when we both realized that that was something that we were both very passionate about, because not everyone is a Russian literature person, but the two of us are. Being the kind of person who does invest the time into learning and reading and looking at different pieces of art and just really focusing on these different pieces of culture shows a woman that you want to keep improving and that you want to keep bettering yourself and that you want to keep your mind growing. And that's a really attractive quality in a man. Because for women, when we look at men, we want to see a man who does want to grow and who does want to improve and who would be a good communicator when you're actually married so that both of you could work on improving with the help of the other. And if you meet a guy and it looks like he thinks he is God's gift to humanity, that makes things a little bit more tricky when you want to actually grow together. So being a cultured person is only going to make it easier for you to meet a classic and conservative woman. Number 3 is dress well and take care of your hair and your facial hair. Looking good is a really important part to attracting a classic woman. It's not just about being fit or in shape because, oh, it's so important that looks matter, but it shows her that you take care of yourself. And if you can take care of yourself, then you can take care of her. And if you can take care of her, then you can take care of a family. If you're constantly looking like a slob, if you look like you don't wash your clothes or you don't trim your beard or you don't wash your hair, then women are going to look at you like, does he take care of himself? Can he take care of himself? Does he take the time? Does he even care what he's presenting to the world? And classic women take pride in making a good first impression. So they do take time to take care of themselves and take care of their looks. And if they meet a guy who's not doing the same, it can be a real turnoff. For young men who are in college, it's not about wearing a suit every day and being overdressed, but it is about just looking clean, looking like you put some time and effort into what you're wearing, looking the part. And you want to be the kind of guy that a classic and conservative woman wants to bring home to her parents and say, look at this amazing man I just met. Of course, fitness does fit into this a little bit in the sense of being strong shows her that you can protect her. Being healthy means that you're going to be able to live a long life with her. Being a healthy person who does eat healthily and go to the gym, not to say that you can't ever splurge or that you have to be at the gym 2 hours a day, but just taking care of yourself physically is very important for a woman because she wants to know, again, that you can take care of yourself so that you can take care of your future family. Now, I'm not saying you should obsess over your looks. No woman wants her husband to be in the mirror longer than she is, but it is important for you to take care of the way that you look so that she feels safer in thinking about spending a life with you. Number 4 is get a job that has potential. You should pursue your passions, but you should also look forward toward the future and what your career could look like. Conservative women and classic women know what they want, and they want a man who knows what he wants too. Classic women, conservative women are the kind of women who date with purpose. They're not going to be dating just any guy who comes around. They really are looking toward the future. And that also goes for the careers that they choose. And so they want a man who is going to be as considered as they are about their life choices so that they can build a family and they can have a future with that partner. Choosing a career that you're passionate about and that would also have the potential to support either your family entirely on your income or just to support your wife's income, maybe she wants to earn as well, is incredibly important to finding a great partner. It's not that you need to be making a ton of money when you meet the right girl or even a great income. It's about showing her that you are thinking about the future and you do want to help provide for the family. Being the kind of man who is responsible, who loves what he does, and who works really hard is a really attractive quality in a man. And it makes a conservative and classic woman a lot more confident that she could live a good life with you. If you are choosing a job with your future in mind, and with the idea that maybe you don't want to work crazy hours because you want to be home with the kids, or maybe you want to work very long hours and you want to be the sole provider of the family. Whatever it is that you can envision working for your family, working for your conservative lifestyle, keep that at the forefront of your mind when you're choosing a career, because it is really important that you know what you're working toward when you meet a woman who you want to marry. And again, this doesn't mean that you have to be the only provider or that you have to be the sole earner, because most households you have both people earning and contributing. It just means that you are being thoughtful about what career you're going to pursue so that it does fit into that family life that you envision for your future. The 5th and last way to attract a classic and conservative woman is to be a good listener. When Jacob and I got together, I had dated a bunch of guys who were just not good guys at all. And whenever Jacob would be sweet and kind to me, I kind of didn't know if he was trying to get something from me. I was applying the intentions of past men that I had dated to Jacob. And the two of us had a really long talk where I just told him everything that I was feeling. And he sat there and he listened and he heard every single thing I said and responded to every single concern. And that was how I knew that I could date him and that he was probably going to be the man I was going to marry. Honestly, it was so powerful that he had taken the time to really hear me and listen to what I was saying. I bring this up because conservative women don't just jump into relationships willy-nilly without thinking. Because we care about our futures, because we're dating the men who we could see being the father of our children, because we envision a family, we don't just take dating lightly. Being the kind of man who does listen to a woman and addresses her fears and concerns, because conservative and classic women don't often go into a date just thinking, oh, this will be fun. We really are considering every angle of how this could turn out. Now, some of the women in my comments might disagree, but that's how I felt when I was dating for marriage. When you listen to her, it shows that you care as much about dating and as much about finding a woman who shares your values and could have a future with you as she does. And that is so important. It's so calming for a woman to meet a man who is clearly on the same page as she is. Of course, listening applies throughout your relationship. It's always very important to be a good listener, and it's going to make your relationship and your marriage so much easier if you do listen to each other and communicate well. But at the beginning of a relationship, it's incredibly important to show that you're a good listener because it shows her that you will be a good partner moving forward and that you could be a good husband to her and that you could be a good father. It really makes you a much more attractive partner to her if you show from the beginning that you listen to what she's saying and show her that she's heard. And more than that, you care what she thinks. That's so important in a marriage, is a woman and a man, both parties, feeling like the other cares what the other person thinks. Because the basis of a good marriage is about both of you caring and respecting the other's opinion. Like I said earlier, marriage is not just about romantic love and, oh, we're gonna get married and it's gonna be so much fun. It's about so much more than that. Communication is key because a marriage is the building block of a family. It's about growing your relationship with each other so that you two could be great parents and be great members of your community. And treating marriage like it's anything less than that is not taking the commitment of marriage seriously. It's about growing and developing into better people with your spouse's help, and it's about putting someone else's needs over your own. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you learned something about attracting the kind of woman that you'd actually want to end up with. Let me know in the comments below. Ladies, is there anything else a man could do to be attractive to you as a classic and conservative woman? And men, I'd love to hear if you agree with my list or if you're already married, what you did to attract your wife. I'd love to hear. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please subscribe to my channel and blog if you haven't already. Head over to my Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook and follow me there. Hit that notification bell to get notified of all my new videos. Hit that like button. Please head over to classicallyabby.locals.com if you'd like to support my channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!